Good day and welcome to the DCS Mission Editor. My name is Sedlo and today I'm going to show you how I like to create a trigger which shows the player has landed on the runway. Now there are a million ways to do this. This is just the way that I do it. There might be better ways, there might be worse ways, whatever. This is just how I do it. Take it as it is. Now, you probably think that it involves a trigger zone, and you are correct, it does. I like to put a trigger zone down over the runway, like so. Not quite like so. This is a round circular trigger, which is the default. Change this to quad point, and what we're going to do is we're going to edit, and we're going to take these little edges down, and we're just going to lightly embrace the runway here. So we'll have a rectangle over the runway. Doesn't have to be precisely like exactly lined up. I like to have it a little bit more just in case the player slides off the runway and survives. You can still consider it a win. Now let's name this thing. We're going to call it on runway. I swear that I type better when I'm not making these videos. Okay, so we have our on runway here, and you're going to say, well, if the player is in the runway box, then they've landed. No, because what if they're going to do an overhead brake or they fly over it for some reason? You know what? That landing trigger is going to fire. So let's create a set of conditions here. Now, as you know, I always do a mission start trigger on every mission. I've pre-done it here, so you don't have to see me do it again. I'm going to show you one thing that I like to do in order to keep my trigger list a little bit more managed, and that is I like to put in a page break. So let's go ahead and make a new trigger. We're going to call this page break. Now what I'm going to do first though is going to make a bunch of leading lines here. Just about this much. Nice happy little lines, and we're going to just go copy that with a Control C. Why are we going to do that? Watch. We're going to go space, space, space. We're going to call this page break. Space, 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 and we're going to go Control V. Now we've got a page break here. Do we? Not quite yet. You must put in an action here, and I just put in a false flag operation here. We're going to call it page break. Okay. If you don't put something in the action thing here, as soon as you navigate away from this trigger, it'll erase itself. So let's still highlight this here. We're going to make this a green color, which is going to stand out. I don't have any other triggers in my trigger page that is this color green. These lines will help separate it and make it obvious that this is a page break. Why am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to group specific triggers within these green lines, and then I'm going to put another green line in, and then another bunch of triggers. Just a way to keep things a little more organized. And trust me, when you start getting into mission making, you might think this is a stupid tip, but you're going to progress much faster than you know, and having a way to keep your trigger list organized looking is going to be great. Okay, let's just clone this. So now we're going to put stuff in between the lines here. Let's go with this new trigger. We're going to call it player landed. We are going to move it up between the page breaks first of all here. All right, so as you surmised, we're going to be we need the unit within this zone. So let's go here. We're going to go unit inside zone, aerial 1-1, on runway is the zone. We're going to set a flag, and we're going to call player landed. Call it what you want. It doesn't matter. Another mission editor tip, always set a flag for just about every single trigger that you make, because when things get a little more complicated, you can refer back to this and base your triggers on that. Trust me, it's just like leaving a breadcrumb as to where you were in the forest. Well, wait, no, breadcrumb was wrong because that got those kids into trouble. Um, it's a flag you plant as to where you've been so you can find your way back. Let's call it that. All right, so unit in zone on the runway. Again, we said this is not enough because it'll activate when the player takes off even. Let's say we should put in a flag is true mission egress. This is a made up flag. Let's just control copy this again, control C. Um, Obviously the landing is going to happen after the bulk of your mission happens, right? So let's just say you make your mission, and when the player's coming back, you're going to set a flag true called mission egress. So let's just call it that. Let's make the player altitude AGL less than 2 meters. So the player's got to be in the zone, the flag has to be true, and the player has to be at least 2 meters or lower above the ground. Why 2 and not 1? I don't know. I just find if you have it at 1, sometimes it doesn't work. I don't know why. Is this enough? Well, no. Let's say the player does a really low flyby and is less than 2 meters above the ground. Not likely. The other situation might be the player just crashes on the runway. They're less than 2 meters above the ground. The flag is true. They're in the zone. It'll still have a mission landed thing. Let's do another one here. We're just going to clone this. We're going to say unit airspeed lower, or velocity. What do they call it? Unit speed lower than. And I'm going to call it 50 knots. And at 50 knots, the tower might say, hey, exit left, contact ground, or whatever. If they're below 50 knots, they've pretty much landed. Unless they're at 50 knots or below and they go off the runway and explode. That doesn't work either. So we're going to do another trigger. Let's just clone this for simplification's sake. You can clone it in the trigger list here. Never, ever, ever clone a triggered action in the unit menu thing, okay? So let's change this here. We're going to say another condition is that the unit is alive. So that's pretty fair, I think. The unit's alive. Okay, so what do we got? The player's in the zone. The flag is true. They're less than 2 meters above the ground. They're slower than 50 knots, and they're alive. Is that enough? Yeah, I think so. So let's pretend we're going to do a message. Hey, Sedlo, nice landing. Exit left, contact ground. Just to simulate a radio transmission. Okay. Let us go back just to this mission true thing. Control C to copy the name. And just by me showing you how this mission works, we need that flag to be active at mission start. Here's another tip I do. Let's go up to the mission start thing. Let's clone it. Let's turn the color red. And here we're going to Control V, paste our flag. So this flag will go on at mission start. And we can call this testing. So when you're making missions, the way you can test things is to set a flag at mission start that would not normally be ready at mission start, but you're just testing it out. Color it red or something that you will know. You can go back and delete it later, but for our intents and purposes, we're going to just do this. All right, so player in zone, flag is true, check. Altitude is lower than 2, speed's lower than that, unit is live. This message should play. Let's go test that right now. Now, MiG-29 will be coming out soon. Are you folks looking to buy it? It's looking like a pretty cool module. I'm not familiar with Red 4 stuff very much. I probably won't be making any missions for it, just because you make missions where your interests lie, and although it looks like a great module, it's not really my cup of tea. But I will be adding it to my weapons trainer video, or weapons trainer mission, so you can fly it and learn about it and all that stuff. Speaking of that, I am going to be phasing out the BFM trainer missions. I've got like one for every terrain, and every time an aircraft comes out, it is a lot of work to put it in. So I'm going to be adding aircraft to my BFM BVR weapons trainer, but I'm not going to be making any more of the dogfight only missions. I just need to prioritize my time in DCS, and I think my time is best used elsewhere. All right, let's get on speed here. Use the trim to get it nicely on speed. And remember now, the power will correct our glide slope, and we don't really even need to use the elevator. But we want to be gentle, and we want it on the center line, and we want to hit maybe a little less hard than that. Speed brake up, maintain directional control, start applying some brake here. All right, so airspeed goes less than 80. We should be, sorry, less than 50. We should get that message. And there we are. Just as easy as that, folks. I hope you have learned something. Just to show you a way that I like to do things. Hey, your mileage may vary. You might like to do it another way. Let me know in the comments below if you do or not. All right. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.